Hello everyone, my friends. This is usually the most relaxing time of the day after a meal. When we could slow down a little, let's have some tea and talk from the heart. Tea has a special power. It helps us put our worries aside, even if just for a moment. When you take a sip of tea, the things on your mind suddenly feel like they have more space to breathe. From now on, every day or every few days, I'd like to sit down with you, drink tea, and have these relaxed, heart-to-heart chats. During these talks, I'll also recommend some good products, some for relaxation, some simply to bring more joy and interest into everyday life. Chinese tea culture has a history of thousands of years. And today, I'd like to start with a small true story from my own life, a funny one. I was born and raised in Beijing. When I was a child, my entire understanding of Chinese tea was very simple: jasmine tea. At that time, my family wasn't wealthy, and in northern China, jasmine tea was basically all you could find. I had heard of Longjing tea, of course, the most famous green tea in China, but I had only heard the name. I had never actually tested it. In 1991, after graduating from university, Beijing was encouraging people to take on a second job. During the day, I worked in a factory. At night, I worked part-time at a hotel. My job title was translator, but in reality, I stood behind a counter selling traditional Chinese handcrafts to foreign tourists. Things like clothesmen, embroidered cushions, and Chinese painting prints. One winter night, around this time of year, actually, Beijing was still very cold back in the early 1990s. Most of our customers were foreign guests. That night, it was already past 11 p.m., and we hadn't sold a single item. The shop was full of handcrafts, Guanyin statues, Buddhist figures, clothesmen, calligraphy, and paintings. Back then, Panjiayuan and the host market were popular. One day, my boss and I bought some artificially aged items to make them look ancient, including some bronze Guanyin statues. They sat in the display case for a long time without selling. So there we were, standing at the shop entrance at 11 p.m., still waiting for our first customer. Suddenly, we saw a group of Japanese tourists working wonders, carrying lots of shopping bags. My boss and I stared at them with great hope, wishing they could come into our shop. From far away, my boss said, "Look, those Japanese guests are carrying a lot of Tie Guanyin." The moment I heard that, I said, without thinking, "Why are they buying Tie Guanyin? They should come into our shop and buy a Prince Guanyin statue instead. It's better, cheaper, and much nicer to take back to Japan." The moment I finished speaking, my boss squatted down and laughed so hard he couldn't stand up. That was the first time in my life I realized that there was actually a tea called Tie Guanyin. Imagine that. I was already in my 20s, a university graduate, and had been working for a year, and only then did I learn that Tiguanyin tea existed. After that, little by little, I began tasting more teas. Fujian rock tea, Jinjunmei, Luan Guapian from Anhui, Xinyang Maojian from Henan, and many others. What I just shared is a true story from my life. And in future experts of our tea talks, I'd like to focus on introducing one specialty each time. So, what tea am I talking about today? It's pu'er tea, a tea unique to Yunnan, but this is not an ordinary pu'er tea. Even among pu'er teas, it's very special. It comes from the Baoshan region of Yunnan near the Nu River. This tea is produced by the De'ang Ensik Group, one of the smallest Ensik minorities in China, with a population of only about 180,000. They ferment large leaf tea to create a natural probiotic known as De'ang salt tea. Through our own research and development, together with scientific research institutes, agricultural universities, and medical universities, we developed a tea called Da'ang honey salt tea. It is a fermented tea based on pu'er tea. So, why drink salt tea? Today is just an introduction, a small beginning. Tomorrow, I'll talk in detail about our Da'ang honey salt tea. Alright, that's all for today. Thank you, everyone.